Joe Brand.
Hello. Now, I'm here because I am an example of middle-aged women who are under threat from heart disease. I think that's why they've asked me, because I am one of those people. I woke up in the middle of the night recently in a cold sweat thinking, Christ, I haven't done any exercise since I was 2. And wondered whether I was at risk. So I thought I'd better go and see my GP. So I went to my GP and I said, look, I haven't done any exercise since I was 2. Am I in danger of dropping dead quite soon? And what can I do? He said, well, it's never too late. He said, just do something a couple of times a week that gets you slightly out of breath. So I started smoking again. Do you know what? I feel great. Because I do worship the Greek goddess of smoking, emphysema. And anyway, I started doing some running, and I'm one of those very lazy people that unless I've got something to work towards, I don't bother. I was like that at school as well. So I entered myself for a charity 5K some 2 months hence to make myself train. And I got there on the day, 30,000 women. And what they don't tell you, it was the most humiliating day of my life to date, I think. What they don't tell you is that if you're a so-called celebrity, right, they put you right at the front of the race next to the professional runners. So it went like this. Floella Benjamin, the Cheeky Girls, Ulrika Johnson, me, Paula Radcliffe. Like, how humiliating is that? And I could see her looking at me, thinking that fat bird's going to have a cardiac any minute, right? And I thought, for the sake of my grandchildren and the photo, she won't expect this. When the gun goes, I'm going to go off like a fucking rocket, right? They'll take the picture, I'll be in the lead going, it's Paula behind me. So we waited for the gun, 3, 2, 1. I went for it big time. I went off like a rocket. All went wrong. Tripped over, knocked someone out of my tits, fell over. 30,000 women trampled over me. What a nightmare. I know. Because you see, the other thing that women do is they drive everywhere, a lot of them. I do. I'm guilty of driving everywhere in London. I absolutely love it. And my husband never learnt to drive, in my opinion. And... the problem is, if you're a woman driving, it's kind of a bit scary at night, isn't it? I'm sure all the women here have experienced this. You leave a perfectly all right-ish multi-storey car park in the light, then you come back at night on your own, and it's hideous, isn't it? First of all, you have to go up and down in that mobile can of urine, the lift, we call that. And then how many women has this happened to, right? You get in, press the button to your floor, just as the doors are about to close, a hairy hand comes round. Forces the doors open, and in steps what you can only describe as a beardy psychopath covered in vomit with piss all over his shoes. And you think to yourself, don't you, Christ, did I really marry that? And running it's not my thing, really, because I'm one of those women that gets a bit of stress incontinence. That's not great for running. You know what I mean, stress incontinence. That one, right? But the thing is, they have actually invented this brilliant thing called a she-wee. Have you heard of this? It enables women to have a wee standing up, right? It's absolutely fantastic, but it's quite difficult to use. There's kind of pages of instructions. And, you know, I thought I'm going to try one because I need it. I need it for my running. And what it says is practice at home first, and it says insert, because it's like a sort of pipe thing, like that. And point somewhere appropriate. Like Croydon, I presume. So anyway, you know, I thought to myself, I just can't do running. It's too embarrassing. And then Comic Relief phoned me up and said, will you run in the London Marathon for us? And when I'd stopped laughing, I think I must have been a bit pissed because I agreed to it. And then I had to train for that. And look, you'll be impressed by this because I am a fat bird. My longest training run was 15 miles, right? Twice around Richmond Park. That's because some bloke had nicked me sandwiches. What actually happened was about a week before the London Marathon, I got a really bad virus, and I went to see my GP and he said, you can't run or you'll die. And I thought, well, that's fairly definitive, isn't it? But also I thought, thank fuck, you know, because I really didn't want to do it. But I was a bit pissed off, you know, because I was going to plan to try and outdo Paula Radcliffe again. Thought I'd have a dump on the start line. But you know, I've tried to keep my exercise up. I've tried to kind of keep the magic going because you know, I want to look shapely for my husband. Because I am happily married. Unfortunately, my husband's not, but fuck it, we can't all be happy, can we? And he's getting a bit middle-aged now as well, and he's started doing a weird thing, you know, that middle-aged men do. When they get to about 40, 45, near 50, he started sitting down to have a piss. Yeah. And not necessarily on the toilet either. And it's like a role reversal, you know, because I've got my shiwi, and he's having to sit down like a lady. It's absolutely marvellous. But, you know, we try and keep the romance going in our relationship. You know, I said to him the other night, darling, what can I do to please you? And he went, get out of the way of the telly. So, that's not terribly romantic, is it? No. But, you know, I want to finish on a very sweet little joke about married couples, because you hear jokes about married couples all the time, and this one's so gorgeous. It's about a married couple on their wedding night, sitting naked on the bed, and the husband says to the wife, look, there's this position I've always wanted to try, but I've been too embarrassed until we got married. Can we have a go? She goes, oh, all right, what is it? And he said, well, it's called the wheelbarrow. And she said, well, what do I have to do? And he said, well, basically, you put your hands on the floor like that. I get your legs either side of my thighs, and whoa, off we go. And she goes, oh, all right then, but just promise me we won't go past my mum's house. Thank you very much. Well done for coming. Good night.